Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome into the Review at Rob show. Appreciate you coming over to hang out with me, man. I am Review at Rob. Today, I got a movie review for you and a little bit of news, man. Chucky. We got some Chucky news, so I'm going to do a little old school Review at Rob show style to talk about the latest updates on old Chucky back there. What's going on with the old Chuckster, man? But before I do that, we are here for a movie review, spoiler free, of course. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this with Faces of Death. This is the 2026 film. The film itself is rated R for strong bloody violence, language, gore, drug use, nudity, and sexual content. Film runs in at 1 hour, 38 minutes, and is classified as a straight up horror movie. That's the only genre that it is, man. So let's go ahead and pull this poster down for you and all that. So, Faces of Death. Normally, when if you've watched this show before, thank you for coming back. If you're new to the show, hello. Normally, when I talk about reviews on here, a lot of the time I say I haven't seen a trailer for this, I haven't read synopsis. I never read the synopsis, quite frankly with you. But I haven't seen a trailer for it and stuff like that. This movie I've been kind of paying attention to for a little bit because it stars one of my favorite actors, Dacre Montgomery, who you probably mostly know from Stranger Things. He was in the Power Rangers 2017 film. He's in the Elvis movie. He was in a movie that came out earlier this year called Dead Man's Wire with Bill Skarsgård and all that stuff. One of my favorite actors, very, very talented actor and all that stuff. So I've seen him posted on Instagram and all that. And again, as a favorite actor, I'm sure, in the know of what they're doing, movie wise and all that stuff. Movie wise, not creepy wise, movie wise, in the know of what they're doing. So I saw that this was happening, and I've of course seen the trailer, and I've seen a good bit of Shutter movies in theaters, and the trailer has played in there before. So I was aware of this movie and what I was getting into in this movie and all that stuff. What I was not fully aware of is that this movie was previously a film that came out, I want to say the 70s, uh, with the same name, Faces of Death. So I was like, is this a remake or not a remake? It is not. It is not a remake at all. This movie is, I guess you can say, best to say inspired by the classic Faces of Death movie, the cult classic, because that film is highly controversial and became one of those things that cult following because the videos on there deal with a lot of graphic stuff and all that, and just to save you the gory details, but then insane things going on in those and the whole debate about is it real, is it not real? Oh, this is real, but that part isn't real, and all that stuff. So much stuff going on around that movie and all that. This movie is basically a person's reenacting scenes that happened in Faces of Death. So it's not like a full on remake of Faces of Death. You know what I'm saying? Like we're not remaking fully Faces of Death. We're just going to have a character that is inspired by the things that are happening in Faces of Death and is uploading it to social media or whatever have you and all that stuff. Our other main character in this film, the stuff I'm talking about is all in the trailer, so it's not really, spoiling anything for you, of course. Our other main character in this film, the actress's name is Barbie, right? Pull it up real quick. Sorry. Yes, Barbie Ferreira, who I'm not fully in the know of, but looks like I was looking at her IMDb earlier, and the main thing is for her was Euphoria, which I have not watched. I believe the new season just came out or has started on HBO Max, final season, I believe. And apparently she was in Nope, but I haven't seen Nope since I saw it the one time in theaters and all that stuff. And that's not a knock on that movie. I just haven't got back around to watching it. But she has, I don't know much of her work and all that stuff. So, but her character in this film, she works at a place where she is covering the internet, right? And looking on the internet stuff and seeing if it's, uh, you know, worthy is not the right word, but if it's okay to have on the internet, if it's not offensive in any way or showing nudity and sexual content or graphic uh, imagery or graphic stuff like the stuff you run across when you're doom scrolling on the internet and all that stuff, right? When you're just flipping through there and you see something, you're like, oh, that's you hit the little three dots, like, this is not for me, doesn't met my interest or whatever, or you report it, right? Report, block, stuff like that. Her job is basically to see this thing and deem if it's okay to keep on the internet or take off the internet and all that stuff. And in the process of doing this job, she comes across the video of what's going on here, and she very graphic content and all that stuff. And throughout the movie, we're trying to figure out and all that stuff. So you can kind of consider this movie, even though it's just straight up considered horror, you can consider a bit of mystery and all that stuff aspect of trying to find out, are these videos real or fake? much like the original film, right? Are the videos real or fake? Even though it was just videos put up in that movie, this movie has an actual plot. So you go into that aspect of trying to figure out if it's real or fake, the mystery of that, who's posting them, is this person really harming people or not, and all that stuff, and then how can you get this taken care of and everything. Very solid freaking storyline throughout this movie, and very well performed. Again, I already told you I'm a Dacre Montgomery fan. Very talented actor. Just watch anything he's in, you'll see it right away. Billy is one of those memorable characters from Stranger Things, and it's because of his performance and all that stuff. The Barbie, again, don't know much of her work, but she's really freaking good in this movie too. The way she conveys so much emotion throughout the whole thing, and just backstory of what's going on with her and going throughout the movie and all that stuff, and the things that she's dealing with while still processing her job. Which can you imagine that job and having that job of where you're sitting there and seeing these terrible things on the internet, most of it just stupid and ridiculous and all that stuff, but coming across something terrible like this and having your own background trauma that you're still dealing with and this kind of affecting in the process. So good. Again, the story is so good. The story is so good. It's an hour 38 minutes. Had me on edge the whole time I was watching the movie. I'm like, ooh, this is crazy. This crazy stuff that's going on is interesting and it's compelling. So well performed. Very easy to follow along with storyline wise. Storyline works very well. And I just had one of those moments where I left the movie theater where I'm like, man, I freaking loved that movie. Like, I I can't remember all the times coming out of the movie. There's been a couple times this year where I've left the movie theater. I'm like, freaking A, man. They did a really good job with that movie. I like that movie a lot. And this is one of them. Like, this is one of those things, it's not like an Elvis, area with that Elvis epic concert, epic Elvis and concert thing. Obviously that's its own thing. That's a bigger deal for me in its own genre and all that. But this movie coming out of the theaters and all that stuff and just sitting on it for a while, I'm like, this might be my favorite movie of the year. Like, and again, it's, you know, middle April at the time of the release of this episode and all that. There's a lot of stuff coming out later this year. But I look at that movie out of the 20 movies, 21. I watched that Thrash movie last night. Um, uh, watch it if you will. I will never tell anybody not to watch a movie, but just be warned. That's on Netflix. I will not be putting out another review. That's your review for this movie. Um, but the 21 movies. Out of the 21 movies I've seen, three of them are like freaking superior films that I've seen this year. That are like, man, they are nailing this. All of them horror, yeah, horror, kind of horror. You, you know, um, but it's so good, man. And I want to see this movie again. I know I'm seeing the Mummy this week. I've already got my ticket for the Mummy, and we'll see how that movie ends up going. There's some things about that movie where I'm like, you know. But the other aspects, I like the classic Universal Mummy stuff. I'm one of the few people that loves the 2017 Mummy film, so I like that world. But this movie definitely is. We'll talk about it more. I'm going to review it next week. We're not talking about the Mummy right now. But this movie, man, I want to see it again. Like I craving to see this. And it's a Shutter movie, so it will be on Shutter at some point. But if they release a physical copy, I will buy that bad boy because it's easily again one of those movies where I'm like, what a good job, dude! What a good job of you got your horror and you got your nasty graphic stuff is going on in the film. Be it that no matter what people tell you, it's not obviously it's not as graphic and horror as I haven't seen that movie, but apparently that movie is the other Faces of Death, the first one. That one's got a lot of crazy stuff going on in it. This movie still has its gore, it still has its horror aspects to it and all that stuff, and it's gnarly stuff, man. Um, and but still having a story and captivating a captivating story at that with what's going on with our main character here and our main character here and everything that's going on throughout the film and how it all works itself together and pieces itself together in this whole thing that they're putting together. Freaking love this movie. Easily one of my favorite movies of the year, if not my favorite movie of the year. Don't want to have a recency bias to go on there, but it's easily top bar favorite film for me. Of the things I've seen this year, it's there, man. It's up there for sure. And I already know at the end of the year, it's going to be, it's one of those things where it's like, it'll be a top 10 film for me throughout the year. Again, long time to go throughout the rest of this year. But that movie, man, freaking loved it. I can see how it could be not controversial, but divisive between people, or maybe you're just not into super gory stuff or uh, maybe you don't understand the story, I guess. But really good movie, man. Highly suggest seeing that. Go see it in theaters. I don't know how long it is. I feel like Shutter movies are in theaters for like 2 weeks max. Sometimes I really don't know how long Shutter movies end up staying in theaters, but this movie did very well. I think the other it's I don't look at box office, but like it came in second on preview night of all the films released by independent film company IFC and stuff like that. So the only one it's behind is Clown in a Cornfield, which came out last year. Last year, that movie did very well as well. So it's making its money. How long they keep it in theaters, I don't know, but definitely go see it if you get the chance. I'm gonna try it. I'm definitely. I gotta see this again in theaters. I gotta see it again in theaters. If I've seen Mario twice in theaters already this year, which we can talk about that in a moment. But just to clear up, Real Rob show's back, man. I got topics to talk about. So to clear it up real quick, Faces Death, absolutely loved it. Easily one of my favorite films of the year. Um, more discussions to be had as far as like all-time favorite horror films, but if I'm wanting to buy a physical copy of it, it's up there as a favorite horror movie for me. Obviously not favorite all time, but it's up there. So there you go. Real quick, we'll just throw it out there. I did watch that Thrash movie on Netflix. Not a fan of it. Is it the worst movie I've seen this year? Maybe. I don't know. But not the hugest fan. It had moments, but for the most part, didn't enjoy that. Didn't enjoy it, just to be nice. And then I saw Mario again. So if you listen to the review that I did for Super Mario Galaxy, I saw that film on like a regular theater screen in theaters. This time I went to go check it out in the RPX because I was like, when that movie looked so fantastic on just a regular movie theater screen. I want to see what this is like on the big screen, the big screens you got there, the RPX screen and all that. And yes, blown away again by the visuals that I'm seeing in this cartoon animated film. It's awesome. It is so awesome to see those things on the big screen and just the vibrantness of those colors and the sounds and all that stuff. So obviously very different because I did do a double feature of this and Faces of Death. You're supposed to. I did it backwards. The whole thing of like watch a horror movie, then throw on like a cartoon afterwards and all that stuff. Even though I'm desensitized to horror, they don't do that. It's just a funny thing that people do. And this time I'm like, I'm gonna watch Mario, then I'm watching Faces of Death, man. But yeah, I saw that again in theaters. So I still enjoyed it. Still enjoy Super Mario Galaxy. It's a fun film, but it's not above. I got three movies ahead. I don't know. I haven't really looked at my list, but obviously I do have three movies for sure above it because my top three. And yeah. Anyways, let's talk Chucky. I never get the video thing. If you're watching it, if you're listening to this in audio, you don't know what I'm talking about. Right now, I'm just throwing my pointer fingers around trying to. There, this one. This one? Nope. This one. There we go. So you see Chucky back there. Huge Chucky fan. There's a Chucky poster over here. Bunch of the Funkos in front of me right now as I'm recording Chucky stuff. I love the old Chucky. That's my horror icon right there. So we've got news this week. Don Mancini, Brad Dorff was also there at a Comic Con. I think it was Steel City Comic Con. Yes, which I need to get out there, man. I gotta meet Brad Dorff one day. But during that, he was doing an interview and all this stuff, and he mentioned that he is working on a Chucky film, which is not the first time we've heard this. We've heard this for the last couple of years that since the show has was canceled, unfortunately, and shouldn't have been canceled. I think it still has 100% of Rotten Tomatoes. But if what am I talking about? Oh, the movie. So Chucky, that's the way this brain works. I just do the show. I just do the show. So he was talking about it and he said he is working on a new film and some things he talked about. And I kind of screenshotted it here to talk about. So let me pull that up real quick. Um, so Chucky, with this new film, and what Don Mancini has said is that he's writing the new film. Um, it will reset the series in a way. So Chucky is one of the horror franchises started back in 1988, and since that time has been very good at the continuity of the film. Right? They have kept the thing very together and all that stuff. While there was a reboot, that was an MGM move to do a new Chucky film. That movie is what it is. I don't hate that movie. That movie's fine, but it didn't really need to happen. Um, The look of Chucky is the main issue of that movie, but the films have followed their storyline and their thing. Like they're all very well connected. I like the Halloween movies, but the Halloween timeline has changed like every couple of years. It seems all that stuff. Jason had a reboot and is just in hell since then. They finally got the somewhat right about Jason, but we got the Sweet Revenge short, and then that's basically been it and a bunch of toys since then. There's a show coming at some point on the Chucky route, which to be fair, we had Bates Hotel before that. Motel, hotel, Bates, whatever. Um, and then Freddy Krueger, who knows what they're doing with that? Like, I feel like the Craven family, last thing I felt like I heard about that, the Craven family got the rights back or have the rights. I don't know. Freddy Krueger is its own weird world right now. And then Leatherface gets rebooted every 15 days, it seems. So, Chucky's been the one that's kept it together and all that stuff. But when he said he's going to, when they say, this isn't a direct quote, it said reset the series. What he's meaning by that is, and he said it, he's going to go back to the Curse of Chucky style. So if you haven't seen Curse of Chucky came out years after Seed of Chucky. Like Seed of Chucky ruined the Chucky franchise. And since like in many years, we do this on the show a good bit. So let's go and do it again. When did Seed of Chucky come out? That was like Seed of Chucky was 2004. 2004. So Curse of Chucky 2013. So it almost took them 10 years before they did another movie. It took a while, which to be fair, they do spend a good amount of time doing the puppetry work, which I appreciate them doing that and keeping Chucky as much of a puppet throughout the movies and all that stuff, as opposed to using straight up CGI and all that. But they're going to reset it as in a theme style wise, because Cult of Chucky, not Cult came after Curse of Chucky, took the series back into a more serious route, had a more darker vibe, had a more scary vibe, a la Child's Play 1 and 2. And then, 3 got goofy. Bride of Chucky, they started throwing comedy in there, but still kept its scary routes enough, but it was funny. Seed of Chucky killed it, killed the whole thing, which you can have a good enough time with parts of Seed of Chucky, but even as a huge Chucky fan myself, that movie killed that franchise for a while. So they did Cult of Chucky. God dang it, Curse of Chucky. They did Curse of Chucky, and that took it back to that scarier route that you're used to with 1 and 2 of Child's Play. Then Cult of Chucky comes out. I keep messing them up. Like when I want to talk about Cult of Chucky, I say Curse. Now I was about to say Cult when we're talking about Curse. Curse of Chucky. Um, it got back into the goofy route a little bit. It got pretty goofy in there. And then, a couple years after that, we get the TV show. First season of the show, horror aspects, scary, all that good stuff. And then it got goofy. Yeah, again, we got friggin' Muscle Chucky. You remember Muscle Chucky? If you've seen the show, it got a little weird, but I still loved that show. And it didn't, in those aspects of it getting goofy, it never got as bad as Seed of Chucky goofy. Like the show, and even um, Cult of Chucky. It had its moments, and that's Chucky to a degree. Has always been comical to a degree. Like you go back to the first movie with the line he says in the elevator, or Child's Play 2. He's got his zingers, all right. Child's Play 3, more of it. Bride of Chucky, fully all of it, and all that stuff. So he can be comical. He can be comical and serious at the same time, and them rebooting it, not rebooting it, resetting it to be a horror first with some tag in there with the lines and all that stuff makes sense and it will work. So they did that. It will be loosely tied to the Chucky finale of the series, which is debated upon, what happened with the end of that series. But I think mostly what that means is they'll tie that up. Obviously, they said tie up, but they'll fix the ending of that and all that stuff. I don't think the movie will star the kids of the show, but I don't know. We're still in the early elements of that. Um, but it has kept its canon since the beginning, so they'll be figured out in there. They still have a way of having Andy Barkley in it, and characters from the past and all that stuff involved in there. And so it will still follow those films and the series and all that stuff, which is great. And again, I love them for keeping the canon going for the series. I mean, Don Mancini's still behind it and all that stuff. Um, so yeah, if we're getting back to a Child's Play 2 vibe or a Curse of Chucky vibe and all that stuff, awesome. Give me that vibe of Chucky and all that stuff because those are the best of the franchise by all means. Child's Play 1, Child's Play 2, and Curse of Chucky. I want to say Cult again. Those are the areas, and it works. I mean, Chucky's coming up on 40th anniversary, right? Released 1998 or 1988, and 2028 is when they're planning on releasing this movie in the theaters. They said it'll be in theaters. This will be the first time Chucky's been in theaters since. See, Chucky was in theaters, right? So since Seed of Chucky, so 20 plus years since Chucky's been in theaters, which I would love to see Chucky in theaters, man. I have not seen a single Chucky movie in theaters. I wish during the Halloween season when they do these movies that they put back in theaters, one of them would be Chucky. I wish, but I've seen Chucky in theaters with the Child's Play remake, but I have not seen the real Chucky, the original Chucky, in theaters, man. And that would be, as somebody who's a huge Chucky fan, that would be a massive deal for me, especially it being this canon franchise that they've kept going since '88. That would be incredible, and I would love for that to happen, and all that stuff. So I'm hugely excited about this. We've known that he's been working on film for a while now to get some more details on it and all that stuff, and get an idea that it's going to be in theaters. Shooting for a 2028 release to follow along with the 40th anniversary of the first film. Absolutely love that, man. Super excited about that. So that's going to do it for this episode, man. So if you saw Faces of Death 2026, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments and all that stuff. How you feel about did you see Thrash? Um, did you see it? Did you check it out? Um, and all that stuff. And the Chucky news. Mario, you can talk about as well, but this is a very horror heavy episode here. But if you saw Mario, let me know what you thought about Mario as well. My review for that is out. Came out last week. Next week to look out for, we've got The Mummy. I will have the Mummy review for all of you. I'd let you know how I feel about that one. And just a reminder, Brendan Fraser's not in that movie. Blumhouse has been telling you about that. Tell you about it too. I don't know why I keep snapping at you like it's freaking 80s. Probably because I listen to a lot of 80s music. Anything else to cover real quick? Might be doing a Halloween Horror Nights episode. Look out for that on my other YouTube channel, Into the Fog with Wolfman Rob. That'll be out probably soon. I'm thinking about doing an episode there. There's some stuff to talk about. But nonetheless, appreciate all of you. Thank you for hanging out with me, man, and all that stuff. If you would like to come back, you are more than welcome to hang out with me and check out more reviews. Again, we'll be talking The Mummy next week. Halloween Horror Nights, Into the Fog on the other YouTube channel. You can find it in my feature channels on this YouTube channel and all that stuff. The audio will be on the same audio place where you find the other audios for this podcast. And I think that does it, man. So appreciate all of you hanging out with me. As always, like reminding you matter. Be kind to yourself. I know things can be tough sometimes. We got some darkness that can hit all of us, and just keep powering through it and fight for it and find that light for you, man. It is there. Trust me. Keep going, and things will be there for you to work out for you. Again, you do truly matter. And I appreciate all of you. Hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, week, month, year. And we'll be back with more reviews later.